I'll record this. Cool. All right. All right. Let's see here. Oy. Okay. So I guess because it's a new video, I can say my name again. It's Emily. It's just Emily spelled funny. It's because I was born in Sweden. And so not like my parents are cool or anything. That's just how you spell it in Sweden. It's just Emily, just like everyone else my age. And then Lee is my married name, making for many, many E's. So many E's. You've got my email, but I also give out my cell. I prefer, don't call me. That's weird. And I won't pick up. Also, my ringer is never on. So don't be offended. But I do encourage you to text me if you have any questions. And so I just find that it's a little bit easier, you know, because in this course, especially, we're working a lot on paper and, you know, you're doing math and you're solving things and there's lots of little places where things can go wrong. And so then if you can just send me a picture and then I'll be like, oh, here it is, and send you a picture back or something like that, then I just find that that's a little bit more efficient. It also eliminates the, good morning, Emily. Hope you're doing well. Hope this email finds you well. No, please don't say that. You can, but then as long as you've introduced yourself once by text, then I'll have you in my phone and I'll just know who you are and you can just ask away, okay? And so I know it's a little bit strange, I guess, but it works really well for me and I've had kind of good feedback about it. You're welcome to email me too. It goes to the same place. It just feels less urgent when I get an email. Oh, I can wait. Whereas a text, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll act on that. That said, I encourage you. So if you have a question, then I encourage you to just, you know, well, try it, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, then you're stuck. Then, so if you want help, just send it to me anytime. Doesn't matter. I'm an adult. I can decide when it's appropriate for me to reply. Often I just kind of try to get them out of the way. And usually it's, you know, a quick reply for me. And so, or if I can't reply, then I'll just let you know, hey, I'm busy, blah, blah, blah. But what I find most of the time is the act of formulating the question so that you can send it to me helps a lot, actually. And so if you just kind of put your question out into the universe, then that helps, okay? And so that's kind of fun, right? So many times I wake up to a series of texts and so I'm checking it. Emily, I don't know how to do this. I'm working on this assignment and of course it's so late, blah, 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 it doesn't matter. And so, and then the end is, never mind, I figured it out. Oh, okay, that's easy. So, yeah, so that happens a lot and that's great. My office is just downstairs. It's kind of hard to see into the office. It's a shared office, but I'm right at the front there. So if you go downstairs, then it's just kind of far corner there. And if I'm here, it's my office hours. And again, like I said, I'm an adult. I can tell you, hey, I'm busy right now, but come back, or can you come back, blah, blah, blah. And so I don't really have office hours because I'm basically always available to you. And usually on short notice. And so instead of me sitting around kind of for my designated office hours, then I don't really do that, but I am here pretty much all the time. And so sometimes even on the weekends. And so, but that's my time. I get McDonald's and I just kind of come and hang out, and can't come see me then. No, you can. You can just text me, hey, are you on campus? Because I'm in the C building. I don't know. Everyone hangs out in the E building. When it gets cold out, it's kind of a trek. So you can just text me, hey, are you in your office? And I'll be like, yeah, I am. Or on Zoom is totally fine as well. Okay. Like I said, hopefully you got my announcement, my test announcement. If you didn't, make sure that your settings are all updated so that you get it. This is how I would, well, cancel class if I have to. I rarely have to. I've actually never canceled a class until last term, so winter term, but I was just terribly sick and I had to cancel. And so this is how I would do that. And so that's why it's important that you kind of get those messages right away. As promised, no material today. We're just gonna go through kind of the lay of the land, figure out what's what. And then you can enjoy your Thursday. Okay, so any questions so far? Is that door open in the back? Yeah. Okay, awesome. Because I just sent someone there. Okay, let's see here. So like I said, there's lots of ways to get caught up on material, right? Even if you have to miss class for whatever reason, I don't care. Not that I don't care, it does not concern me. Okay, I care about you as people, but it doesn't matter to me if you, for whatever reason, have to miss class. Okay, and so that's why I make all these things available to you. So you can join on Zoom, you can join here. Let's make that number one. You can join on Zoom if you'd like, as a passive observer. You can watch the videos afterwards. I'll post all the notes after class. And so anything that I write, obviously today I'm not going to write very much or anything at all. But anything that I write, blah, 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 let me scroll down here. Oh, so many hidden things. I know, to look forward to, right? Let's see here. Hey, this is hidden from students? No. This was supposed to be showing. Okay, well, it's showing now. And so these are old, these are from last term, but just to show you, so every week I do a little blurb of, or every day, I guess, of what we're going to be doing. And so then you can kind of plan ahead, plan your readings, which is also one of the reasons I don't want to do material on the first day, because now you have all weekend to feel guilty about not doing the readings. Or you could feel really good about doing the readings beforehand. Two options. Either way. And so after each class, I'll upload whatever notes we write just to show you what it would look like. Usually I write my notes by hand, but I do have kind of a writer's cramp situation. And so I'm trying to not write so much, but it really kind of, I don't know, doesn't jive with me. But so I might stick to the slides. I might start writing more by hand. We'll see. But I'm going to switch it to your mode. student mode. And I've posted the slides. I'm allowed to change these. I wouldn't go ahead and print any of these out yet or anything like that. I would kind of hold off, but chapter 1's pretty safe. We'll use those. But like I said, I reserve the right to change my mind on how we do these. But for now, I'll stick to the slides, even though that's not really what I like. But I've also posted these chapter videos from the textbook. Now, these are different from the videos that I post on YouTube, obviously. These are just kind of made by the authors, and more the merrier, right? So I'm just putting them out there. If you want some videos, they're not exhaustive videos, but they are helpful. And Mina is one of the authors. And if I ever get to meet her, oh man, I'd be so excited, because she does just amazing work. And I really, well, I'd be fangirling pretty hard. So anyways, and so these are the chapter videos that go with the textbook. But like I said, I would, if you're prioritizing, one, read the textbook, which is an open textbook. Hey, that's a good thing to talk about too. An open textbook, it's called Open Intro. I posted the PDF, or you can download it at openintro.org, or look at how good this looks. It's like a matte finish. It's very pleasing. I'll leave it here for you guys to touch if you want. Just like hold your hand on it a little bit. They're, I think, 25 on Amazon. And so if you want a hard copy, then go for it. I don't order them into to the bookstore because that seems silly. And so they're on Amazon. Just make sure that it's the 4th edition. That's really, really important, because they change the order of things. And so here it is. Should look like this. They all actually look the same, but there should be a 4 down here. I guess in the recording you won't know what I'm talking about, but you will. So we're going to work through pretty much this entire textbook as much as we can. And so I don't like to jump around or anything. That used to drive me bonkers when I was a student. Profs would be like, oh, we're going to do chapter 2, and then chapter 14, and then chapter 4, and then chapter 7. Like, I understand the wants to do that, but I can't do that, so I won't. So that's the textbook that we're using, right? You've got the PDF. Should be good enough, but if you're a hard copy person like myself, then go for it. They're just on Amazon. Okay. Further on my props. How about a calculator? You can use pretty much any calculator. I like this one. I'll probably be using this one. On tests, you have to use a calculator. We're going to be incorporating Excel in kind of applied assignments. We used to have labs in this course, but that's kind of archaic, right? You go to a computer lab and you log into the school computer, and then you do an Excel lab, which you can still use school computers, but not in a designated hour like we used to have. And so we're going to have applied assignments where we use Excel to learn how to use Excel to do these things, but there will be no Excel on the tests. Okay, so that's important to remember. And so even though it is easier in Excel, of course, or quicker maybe, not easier, but quicker, we won't have access to Excel on the tests. And so you'll need to know how to use your calculator. Okay, so it's good to kind of get used to doing both. We're gonna have just normal assignments, if you will, where you practice things kind of by hand. And by hand, I mean using your calculator. And so you'll have kind of two flavors of assignments. Any questions? Yeah.
Yeah, can you use a graphing calculator? Like that's all I got. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. We're not supposed to. I don't really care. You can use a graphing calculator if you want. I used to love my TA83, and so it died, sadly. But yeah, go for it. I'm kind of, well, okay, yeah. So I guess my thing is, if you take the time to figure out what you want to store on your graphing calculator, joke's on you because you already learned it. You had to figure out what you wanted and all these things. And anyways, so unofficially, yes, you're allowed a graphing calculator. Okay. Any other questions? How about the course outline? I feel like, was there more? Let me just scroll through here. Let's finish up on our Moodle page first. The Success Center. I will ask Kate to come in and introduce herself. Kate works in the Success Center and she is awesome. And the Success Center is just kind of free tutoring. You can go and ask them questions if you're working on problems. Later in the term, I'll have people tell me, oh, I just go in there and do my homework there, because then there's always someone there to help me. And so they can help you with lots of things, math, stats, chemistry, biology, all those physics, all that fun stuff. There's writing people in there, but I don't know them, obviously. And so they're paid already by the school, and so use them, right? They're awesome, especially if you find that the way that I explain things maybe isn't working for you, right? Then Kate has lots of other ways to explain things, and so she's got all these cool like blocks and I don't know, whatever things she has, she's got cool things. And so Kate and Josh will be kind of your go-to people for stats and math. And so if you're in math, but those will be the ones to look for on the schedule. So they'll probably have some sort of schedule. I don't know. But that's over in the library. So you go into the library and then you go past the stairs and then turn right immediately. There's like a glass area and then you kind of go around the corner. Kate usually has mushroom pictures on her door. She loves mushrooms. Hopefully just regular mushrooms. So the Success Center is an excellent resource for you to have. Here's my schedule, not to brag or anything. Wow, just wow. With the exception of this little guy, 4 to 6 on Fridays. Pretty good schedule. This is so that you know where I am, where I'm expected to be. But also if I'm in the Zoom room already with maybe another class, then you'll know before you hop in. And so I just post that so that you'll have it. It's also outside my door, so you've got it. We're not going to watch this grit TED Talk, but I encourage you to watch it. Angela Duckworth talks about grit Okay? And so I always kind of joke, but not joke, that stats and math is 80% attitude, and it is. Okay, and so watching, I encourage you to watch that Grit TED Talk. It just talks about, what it takes to succeed in math and therefore stats. And kind of a fun way to get amped up for the term, I can do this. Usually people coming into this course, there's two flavors. You're either really scared because you do not like math, or you're really excited because you love math. Well, I'm going to disappoint you both because, well, I guess only one's disappointed. There's not a lot of math. There's a lot of, so stats is kind of a dance between English and math. And so there's a lot of words are so important, okay? And how you say things is so important, okay? And so, and you'll find that, right, there's a lot of terminology that we need to go through so that we can kind of speak the same language, okay? And so if you're coming from the, I'm so excited to do math, finally, group, then you'll be a little bit disappointed because the math itself at this level is relatively basic, okay? And so kind of a relief if you're coming from this side, right? But kind of get ready to do that dance between English and math, okay? Some logic, I guess. Okay. Now I think we're ready for the course outline. Any questions before we do, even though we've covered basically all of it already? No. Here I am, here you are. We already talked about those things. Hopefully you read the calendar description, doesn't matter. Course material, like I said, 4th edition, very important because of the change. We're gonna have a very basic breakdown of the grades. So the assignments, which includes just kind of the regular assignments and those Excel assignments, 20% of your grade. What? But there's a lot of them. They're a lot of work, right? But they're meant to help you prepare for these tests, which are obviously worth a good chunk of change. Okay, and so we're gonna have 2 tests. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna switch here so that I can write on here. I had written my cell on there, but I already gave it to you, so it's good. So we're gonna have 2 tests. How do I? And about roughly 30 assignments here. I'm all zoomed in here. Hang on. Good enough. And obviously 1 final exam. Can you imagine? Roughly 30. I should do a little. Like to keep you busy, a little bit busy. Makes none of them worth very much, right? And so we're going to be using a system that we have here, that we host here called My Okanagan Math. It's a version of My Open Math. If you've used My Open Math before, it's just, you're gonna link through it through Moodle, and it's basically a Moodle assignment, but just, it's better. You can do better things. And so affectionately called MOM, My Open Math was abbreviated as MOM, which makes it really fun to talk about. Oh, mom, blah, blah, blah. And so we wanted to keep the MOM acronym, so My Okanagan Math. And so they'll be on Mom. And Mom has great features, such as I'll give you 10 late passes. Now, what a late pass does is it extends your due date by 24 hours. Okay, you only get 10 of them. Maybe I should bump it up because we've got so many assignments. How about 15 late passes? Cool, don't really know what they are yet, but okay. Let's say 15 late passes. Use them wisely, okay? You do have to apply them before the due date. Obviously, I can change that, but I don't want to because I don't want to. No, that's all I need to say. No, I don't want to change it because there has to be some sort of kind of accountability on your side, right? You have to recognize that you have this due date, okay? And then if you can't make that due date in the same way that you would need to let your client know that you're not going to make the deadline before the deadline, right? Kind of in the same realm, okay? So you have to apply the late pass before the due date or before it's kind of due, and then it'll extend it by 24 hours. You can apply another late pass if you wanted to, another late pass if you wanted to, but that's probably not worth it because they are not worth that much. And maybe you're just swamped and it's okay. You'll be able to review the assignments with the answers after it's closed. Okay? So don't worry. Okay. So assignments will be kind of regular, right? Kind of in the beginning here, roughly one after each lecture, right? And I give you at least a week to work on them. Okay, so they'll be open for a week. And from the time that we finish the material, then I'll give you a week to work on it. Okay. I don't have the test dates figured out, nailed down quite yet, but I'll post them on Moodle when I do. And then, of course, the final exam is cumulative, of course, so the entire course, and it'll be 3 hours. And usually when the final exam schedule is posted, there's like a buzz on campus. It's posted, it's posted, it's posted. Then you'll know. Learning outcomes will make 0 sense, maybe right now, but when you're reviewing for the final exam, maybe they'll be good to revisit, right? Because these are things, some of them are a little outdated, but that's okay. I'll let you know closer to the final exam, which feels like ages away. So like I said, we're going to cover the majority of the textbook. There's, I think, nine chapters, maybe 10. No, I think there's 9. Yeah, 9. And so we're going to go through definitely chapters 1 through 8, dip into 9.1, and then we'll back off. Okay. These are department policies and not necessarily my personal policies, but a couple of things that I do want to highlight that are important to me. So written assignments, we won't have that many. I might try to come up with some, but I won't make them due. I'll just give you written ones and post the solutions. And so it doesn't really matter. Let's see if I can get my pointer going here. So we don't give makeup exams, and it just is such a headache for posting grades, posting solutions, getting tests back, right? If you've marked them, then if you're waiting for someone to write it. And so for me, what I do is it might be tempting to skip a test if you feel like you're not ready for it. So I don't want you to do that, Okay, I want you, even if you feel like, oh, shoot, I did not study enough for this test. I still want you to come in here, try it, try your best, see how it goes. Okay, that's so valuable. Okay, to have that experience and see, you know, how did I do under pressure? Okay, and the reason I feel comfortable saying that is because so if you miss a test, the weight gets automatically shifted to the final exam. Okay, and I'm going to do that for one test. You can't be missing 2 tests and then show up to the final exam. That's just not going to work. Okay, if that happens, then we will deal with that. But that's usually not a great thing. And so for one of the tests, I'll shift the weight up to your final exam. Okay, and so as long as you're improving, you're going to do just fine. Okay, and so, well, then it does sound strategic to not show up to the test, doesn't it? Aha, well, how about this? For one of your tests, if you do better on the final exam, one of them, not both, I'll shift the weight, I'll pretend you weren't here, and I'll shift the weight to the final exam. Obviously, I can't do that until you've written your final exam, okay? But that is something that I commit to you. Notice how it's not in writing. It's my own personal flavor, but it is in the recording, so you got me up against the ropes here. Okay, and so for one of the tests, regardless whether you didn't write it or whether your final exam was better, I'll shift the weight to the final exam. My ultimate goal is that you learn this material, right? And so that takes time, right? And so for me, as long as you do better on the final exam, I want to reward you. Okay. Attendance, like I said, I don't care about attendance, but it's always nice. It's a very cushy time slot too. 10 can roll up in here. Well, there's no parking actually. Luckily, I have an 8 a.m. before this, so this one, you don't want to change sections, so that doesn't matter. This one is important. For some reason, well, if for any reason you do not get 45% or higher on the final exam, then you are unable to pass the course. It doesn't matter what your overall grade is, okay? And so I really want to emphasize that. I do every year, but for some reason last term I had a couple of people who were doing really, really well and then just decided to not show up to the final exam because they were going to pass anyways. And I'm not allowed to pass them. So that's really bad. Don't do that, okay? And so just heads up. I used to just say you have to pass the final to pass the course. And that feels reasonable, right? And I was like, yeah, that sounds reasonable, okay? And then, but I don't know what it is, but for me, psychologically, having to get 45% on the final to be able to pass the course, that's like, whoa, hold on. Why are you so unreasonable? Isn't that funny? Because it's lower than 50%? I don't know, but just think about it. For me, psychologically, this feels more harsh than having to pass the final to pass the course. Anyways, but that doesn't make sense. So if this were to happen, which it won't, because we've talked about it now, then the highest grade I can give you is 45%. This is more for the data science because we have them kind of for their entire academic lifespan. So we'll skip to calculators. But I guess I should talk about artificial intelligence. It's your responsibility to know when it is appropriate to use it and when it's not. Hey, what a cop-out. I think we all know when it's appropriate, okay? I encourage you to use AI for practice to help explain things, right? You can even ask it to, you can give it a question and then ask it to make up a similar question, okay? With a caveat that it may not be correct. Okay, so it's getting better, but when I was playing around with it, I would feed it questions and then ask it to make up a similar question, and it would just kind of clunk out halfway and not make any sense. But it's getting better, obviously, every day. And so that's an excellent tool, right? If you're having trouble with a question, feed it the question, have it explain it to you. I'm totally fine with that, right? As long as you feel comfortable that you can recreate that knowledge, however you gained it, right, on a test, right? And so however you get there, right? Even if you did all your assignments with ChatGPT or whatever, that's only 20% of your grade. It's not really going to help you at all, right? Because we're doing paper exams and blah, blah, blah. So, so do yourself a favor and use it, but use it appropriately, okay? And so calculators, I'm saying any calculator is fine, right? But that's unofficially. I will give you a formula sheet, but I don't hand it out in the first week on purpose because it's kind of scary. But we're going to chip away at it so slowly that it's going to be fine. So you'll be fine. Okay. Any questions so far? We're almost there. Obviously made it to the first day of classes. Yay. The only thing, well, okay, so some holiday Mondays that don't affect us because we're Tuesday, Thursday. The only thing I want to highlight here is the last day to withdraw without a W, okay? Or with a W, sorry, is October 25th, which feels like ages away. At that point, we'll have had a test and you'll have a very good idea of where you stand in the course. Now, the reason I bring this up is because sometimes strategically, right, if you feel like you're drowning, right, everyone has a bad term, and if this is that term for you, I'm really sorry, but it happens. Everyone has to have one bad term, and that's just how it is. And so these things happen, okay? And if you feel like, wow, I am not going to pass this course, not just this course, but any course, it's better to withdraw with a W because it doesn't count towards your GPA, okay? And so kind of a bummer because you paid all that money and you spent all that time, blah, blah, blah. But in the end, right, having a fail on your transcript is going to bring down your GPA, and that's not good. In general, my goal is to have everyone have very high grades. Everyone's happy, especially me. That doesn't mean it's easy, but I try to make it as reasonable as possible. It's very, very possible to get an extremely high grade in this course. A lot of work, but it's extremely doable. And then, of course, if you're like me, you've already jotted down the last day of classes in your, maybe we don't have planners anymore, but do they give them out anymore? They do? I used to love those things. first thing I do, last day of classes, put in the holidays, right? And of course, the final exam period. Until the schedule gets posted, don't book any tickets or anything, because it's not a valid out of time exam reason. Okay, so we talked about the Success Center. We're so close. Final exam policy, right? That's just for out of time exams. Deal with, cross that bridge when we get there, if we get there. And then academic integrity. Don't cheat, but please don't cheat. It's a lot of work for me. And you don't want that, do you? There's counseling on campus, okay? Again, bought and paid for, use it, right? Like a lot of these things, they're already bought and paid for, so you may as well use them. Okay? And then I guess they're called disability access services now, constantly changing their names. What they do stays the same. And so if you feel like you need extra time on exams or anything like that, you can always talk to them and see if they can provide accommodations for you. Okay. I don't have anything to do with that, but I'm happy to put you in touch with someone as appropriate, and then they just send me the paperwork and okay, get it organized. But if that's something, that's kind of the main thing that, well, not the main thing, but on my end, the main thing that they do is provide kind of extra time, reduced distraction spaces and stuff like that for tests. Any questions? Oh, let's see here. Oops. Feel like we did it. As promised. Course outlines, talk you through it. If you have any questions, I'll stick around. I'll stop this recording. And with that, I release you and we'll do, whoa. Sorry, that happens a lot. We're gonna go through chapter 1 on Tuesday, all of it, well, with any luck. And so maybe read chapter 1, start get into chapter 2 on the weekend. And with that, I release you. See you on Tuesday.